Now, I've been formulating this idea for quite some time, so let me explain what this new series is about. It's essentially a bit like a before you buy style video, but the eShop doesn't have any kind of refunds program. So we play 2 hours of a title and we tell you pretty much, would we refund that game after the 2 hours that we've played? Obviously, it's going to have to be a bit of a stinker if the answer to that question is yes, and we'll also provide quite a bit of review style information to go along with it. The reasoning for this is, as we've seen, suddenly 10 games drop in the eShop that you guys want information about, and there's no way we can get everything out at once. Plus, I'm kind of hoping that the idea of an unofficial SwitchUp refund program resonates with some of you. Do subscribe if you enjoy the content, and today we're going to look at a short hike, which it's fair to say caught my eye with not only its price, but its interesting pixelated 3D look. So, a short hike. After 2 hours, would I refund? Let's find out. The game places you as a bird called Claire, who's just left home. Her house is situated in the valley of a large mountain, and you control her directly with the left stick. You'll have a jump button, and by holding the jump down you can glide, and the control of this is very well implemented. This is facilitated by a 60 FPS limit, which seems to be maintained almost at all times. One thing that may not appeal to all players is this pixelated style. Now, it's not really pixelated, it's faux pixel. It's a low-res, upscaled image, which represents almost a 3D pixelated look. Now, at first I must admit I wasn't entirely sold on it, but it ties in perfectly with the atmosphere of the game. And what type of atmosphere is it, you might ask? Well, it's whimsical, it's charming, and the music is absolutely on point. The soundtrack to this one is one of the best I've heard. If you remember back in the Sound Blaster days when they advertised dynamic sound as one of the key features of a game, whereby it would shift depending on what was happening on screen, this one does that so often. As you climb up into the colder and more frigid temperatures, the music will shift completely and the tone will change, but as you hit a gust of wind and spin around the side of the mountain, the tempo will lift up and the music will become much more optimistic and hopeful. There are times when this will die down completely, like when you first get your fishing rod and you can sit by a river and just chill out and fish, with its own simplistic mini-game that involves spamming the button, but you will need bait for your fishing line, and the mountain is dotted with fishing spots. If I was going to put the game in a nutshell for my first 2 hours of play, think of it as an adventure sandbox based around an entire mountain. Not only do you learn to climb quite early on, which has a stamina system linked to these golden feathers, it's those feathers that become one of the highest sought treasures as you play the game, as they increase your ability to reach new areas. One of my favourite aspects so far is the writing. It's an exceptionally well written tale, with a plethora of small and mini side activities and storylines going on. There are a number of treasure maps that you can find which are riddle based, and as you learn the layout of the mountain, you'll spend a good chunk of time just trying to find all the different pieces of treasure. In terms of the length of the game, you can reach the top of the mountain in about an hour, but that's not the end of the game, as the whole mountain is just a big sandbox adventure. There's loads of small characters hidden away, little optional extras you can do, and much like a game like Animal Crossing, as I've recently discovered, a lot of the joy comes from just relaxing. Just spending some time doing some of the many little mini games that are on offer, as well as the side quest activities like collecting shells on a beach, following those treasure maps, and gradually just discovering new items, characters, and areas that you didn't think were there the first time round. The game is priced very, very low indeed, and this reflects the shorter nature of the game, but still I think it's excellent value. I think you could easily sink 5 to 10 hours in terms of finding everything, doing everything in the game, and through its synchronicity between the music, the writing, and that charming aesthetic that I've grown to love even in these 2 hours, it's a title that manages to tap into a lot of emotions that you would have experienced when you were a child. So the question, would I refund the game after the 2 hours that I've played? Absolutely not. In fact, I'd recommend you go out and grab this one. It's not what I thought it would be. It's much more structured and organised while still allowing for exploration, and those controls are on point. The silky smooth performance is a delight in docked and handheld modes, and it has some of the best music I've heard in a game for quite some time. A short hike is a keeper, and a highly recommended one at that. Let me know what you think of these little bite-sized 2-hour would I refund style reviews, and any questions you'd like to ask about the game, just pop a comment down below. Obviously, we'll be having our traditional styles come all the time, but this allows us to cover off a few more that potentially may go under a few radars. Please do subscribe if you enjoy the content, we really appreciate it, And as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!